So this is my 2021 Suzuki Jimny JB74, which I've owned for around about 3 months now. And within those 3 months, I've been getting to know the vehicle, and I've got a good understanding of the things that I hate about the vehicle, the things that I love about the vehicle. So in this video, I'm going to be talking you through the things that I hate about this Suzuki Jimny. I will be covering the things that I love about the car in a completely different video, so I will be covering both sides of the coin. So for this video though, let's focus on the things that I don't like about the new Suzuki Jimny. Let's do business. So it's just a bit of fun. Hopefully all of you Suzuki enthusiasts and fanboys won't go hating on me too much. I am used to driving Porsche sports cars and other cars, so this is a severe diversion to what I'm normally used to. But the first thing that I hate about this Suzuki Jimny is the engine. The engine is a 1.5 litre petrol engine, 4-cylinder, with about 102, 103 brake horsepower from factory. And this thing is absolutely gutless. The engine is just so slow. It has zero power. It has just enough power to get me around the local roads with just myself in. No payload. If I start putting passengers and a big payload in the back here, because it's the LCV, I stand no chance. Look, all I really want to do is, I'm not expecting fantastic, amazing performance. All I really expect of it is to be able to get me up and down the banks on my local streets, get me along roads like this without having cars screaming up my arse, without the engine itself screaming like a baby. So it's just not powerful enough. There are turbo kits that you can buy. They're about £3,500 plus the fitting. You can buy tunes as well, which obviously are a lot less, but I think the gains that you get are hardly worth it. So I've got a car coming up behind me now, and I'm on a slight incline, and I'm getting no power from the car. It's just ticking me over. So that is the first thing that I just wish it had just a bit more power, or was a little bit more torquier. Now next up is the fact that the car isn't very good in wet, slippery conditions. You would expect that of most cars, but this car seems to be some sort of exception. Even with these big fat chunky wet tyres, I get really poor traction when going around corners. And I don't necessarily mean corners that I'm approaching with speed. I just mean, you know, the nice gentle floaty corners. If you do have the slightest bit of speed, then you just don't really know what to expect, and you don't know what to get from the car. If you are going through surface water, or certainly like a standing puddle at speed, sometimes you can't help it, sometimes you just have to. The best thing to do, the only way I can describe it as, just grip on for dear life, and hopefully at the end of the puddle you will still be on the road, because I think you just don't know where you're going to end up. When I'm going through a puddle, and I'm going, maybe it's, I don't know, speeds of say like 30 miles an hour, you can really feel the car sort of going all over the place, and you've really got to fight with it to try and keep it in line and in the same position in the road as it was when you went into the puddle. Right, so next up is the seats. The seats, like, they just don't hold you at all. The bolsters, they have little bolsters on them, but they are completely useless on the seat backs, uprights and the flat parts. Tiny little bolsters, completely useless. And I'm going to demonstrate that by going round a sharpish corner here. I'm going to go over this bridge, which is the Scotswood Bridge. It's a bridge local to me and where I live. The surface is wet, and this is quite a sharp corner coming off the edge of this bridge, and it generally has me completely out of my seat, and I'm struggling. So I'm approaching it, oh my god, like no traction at all, and it's all over the shop. You probably can't pick it up on camera, but my god, this seat just does nothing for you. Going around another sharp bend here, really struggling. This stay in my seat there, 30 miles an hour, and as we go around here again, This seat is just not doing anything for me. I feel like I'm completely falling out of the seat. The car's all over the shop going around that bend. To be fair, that bend is a bend which doesn't have a great surface. There's not a lot of traction to be had on that bend. Right, so next up is the fact that this car is seemingly made from tin foil. Every panel that you touch, every time you move inside the vehicle, it's like, it seems to be just all over the place. It's so wishy-washy. You struggle to sort of feel confident in the car. You can move the car, you can lean up against the car and it'll move. You'll see what I mean on screen here. You put the windows down and these just don't feel confident. These are like moving all over the place. You wouldn't get that in any other car. The panels don't seem too bad. They are cheap, but I'm not getting any vibrations or anything, which is a good thing. It's one thing I always love, or hate, should I say, about these cars. But I just think the whole car is made from cheap materials, and I get that. It's reflected in the brand new price of the car. And once these cars are a few years old, you know, they will start coming down in price. And I guess the lightness of it is what adds to the charm and the appeal of it. So, you know, I'm not, like I say, I'm not totally hating on it. I'm just seeing this as a point of view from like a safety thing maybe, or you know, just maybe judging it against the way other cars are built. This car is just certainly built differently. And there are also a few other things, a few smaller things that I thought might be worth mentioning. Sometimes it's quite difficult to get the car into reverse gear. I'm not really, I think it's only when it's cold, so it's not really a big thing to make a big point of on its own. What else have we got? The rear door, sometimes unfortunately, when you're parked on an angle, the shock absorber, or the, I can't remember what they call it off the top of my head, but it's not strong enough to be able to keep the door open when the car's on a slight angle, as you can see by what's happening on screen right now. There's that, and then also the relationship between the when you've got a manual transmission, the relationship between the clutch and the accelerator pedal. It's quite difficult to get smooth transitions when lifting your foot off the clutch and putting your foot on the accelerator. There might be a modification that you can do to sort of soften the clutch pedal coming up, in which case it would make the transition between changing gears, or certainly in first gear, pulling off from stationary, pulling off from a standstill into first gear, that's when you most notice it. So there might be some sort of modification that you can do to kind of soften the extremity of the clutch control, because you often get vibrations. It often feels like the clutch is struggling to engage into first gear, but that's not always the case, because the accelerator is pressed, there's enough gas going through there. So maybe it's just something that needs to be looked at. Maybe it's just too new a vehicle that not many people have figured that out yet. I don't know. Oh, and also the MPG, I don't think it's that good considering the lightness of the car, the smallness of the engine. I'm dotting around the doors and I'm generally getting about 32. That's my average fuel consumption. 32.6 is what I'm looking at right now. So for the size of the engine, for the lightness of the car, I would probably expect that to be a little bit better. So it's not the worst, but I would expect it to be better. Again, just a slight little niggle. Doesn't bother me though. You know, I generally put in this car, God, 50 pounds every 2 weeks. So, and you probably get about, from a full tank, which is about 50 pounds at the minute, probably about 250 miles out of that. So, obviously prices will differ where you are. But I just think the overall MPG, as I say, could be a bit better. But I don't want this video to be really taken the wrong way, because it is a little vehicle that I absolutely love, and I've loved driving every minute of it for the past 3 months I've owned it. It's very, like I say, it's very different to what I'm used to, but I think in a way that's why I love it so much, because I'm just so accustomed to driving, you know, those German quality cars, whereas this is just completely off the scale and very different for me. So as I said, I have loved it, but with that in mind, I'm going to be doing a video to even things up, and I'll show you all of the things that I love about this car, because there's way more to love than there is to hate. I promise you of that. So if you're thinking about buying one, hopefully this video has maybe helped you. And also check out the other video on the things that I love about it as well, because I think knowing the things that I hate about the car, would that have stopped me from buying the car in the first place? It's a good question, actually. I don't want to say yes or no either way. It's one for me to think about, I think. Anyway, guys, thanks for watching. If you want to see more on this vehicle, then by all means hit that subscribe button, hit the like button if you've enjoyed this video and if you gained some value from it. I'd really appreciate that. Thanks for watching. I'll see you on the next video.